Well, James Franklin still can't win big games. What's up, sports fans? I am the sports judge, and welcome to the channel. You know, I've defended James Franklin countless times, but now I'm sim- I simply can't defend him ever again until he wins the big one. Penn State loses to top-ranked schools every time. It never fails. And look, I like James Franklin. Great guy, excellent recruiter, always has a team that can contend but fails miserably. You can punk the little guys, but you can't beat up the big guys. I guess you can at least reward the guy for being able to be this consistently average coach for so long. Let's look at Franklin, the most overrated coach in program history, and it isn't even close. That's hard to argue against. The prickly truth is that the good in this team is just a false display. He hasn't won a game that matters aside from a Rose Bowl appearance in which Penn State lost. And I mean, even Stevie Wonder can see that James Franklin is the most overrated coach in the country when it comes to big games. A guy who does so little with so much talent, and time after time, like today against Ohio State, he gets exposed and somehow he still ends up keeping his job. Like, how many times does he have to fail with skilled players before people understand this? You have a Penn State team that never produces against the top teams. There is nothing in this team that provides inspiration when they have to face a top school in their conference. No energy, no urgency, nothing. You mean to tell me this Penn State team has 0 offensive touchdowns today? 4 trips in the red zone? And not one time you could get in the end zone to score. That's a problem. That's a problem. 0 touchdowns on the day, 2 field goals, 6 points. It was, I believe, late in the fourth, some ridiculous play calling on the goal line, and they walked away with no points, come away empty. And once again, Penn State was a no-show in a big game. Same story year after year. Overmatched and unable to overcome. You have the same mental mistakes, wasted plays, and no sense of urgency by the offense. And now it's on to next week. It's on to the next week. The worst play calling you will ever see. Inside the 5 twice and 0 points. Unbelievable. You run under 10 normal plays today. What are you doing? And now you become the latest to fall from the ranks of unbeaten. And at home, you're now 7-1. This is not a top 10 football team. It's not a top 10 football team. For sure, they are a team that don't deserve to be in the top 10 rankings. They'll be out of the top 10 soon because they proved themselves to be pretenders. Never again, never do this team pass the test against the superior teams. And again, I'm not impressed with their performance. Another week of being so poorly coached. The letdown is setting in. It's also reality. Every year, Penn State finds a way to disappoint and frustrate. And to me, when looking at this Penn State team, they're worse than last year's team. Almost everyone regressed. How is it you go up 10-0 in the first quarter only to muster 3 points the rest of the game when you have an offense as good as anybody? Well, you're supposed to have an offense as good as anybody. It was very lackluster. I mean, that third down run up the middle instead of cutting outside where there were no defenders, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what the hell, man? What was that? Pathetic play calls. I'm really starting to learn more about this team as the weeks progress. And you know what I realize about this team? Penn State is a third-tier program. They can never win the games that matter. There is plenty of talent, no doubt, but they look horrible in key games. It's as if they lack inspiration. And then you have a team playing uninspired football. They certainly look lost, disengaged, dispirited. Here is the big word: defeated. They look defeated. It's like they're playing scared. But when it's a team they know they can beat, oh, they're steamrolling them, dismantling them. And then the national pundits are talking about them like they're a top 5 team in the nation. Beat somebody first. Beat somebody. You're 1-4 in your last 25 versus top 5 teams. Beat up on garbage and lose to every good team you play. James Franklin, like I said, good guy, but looking at his overall record since he's been at Penn State, it doesn't look good. Franklin is 1-14 against top 5 ranked teams. And, you know, what people don't realize is that, man, this guy is bad. And when are we going to realize he's the problem? Like when? When are we going to realize he is not working for this program? You know, at some point, we got to realize that. You know, it is what it is. When are we going to look at the real problem? And quite honestly, you don't deserve to win if you can't score from the 1-yard line 4 times with 0 offensive creativity. It has to be hard to be a Penn State fan. Terrible coaching. 3-yard line on 2 different series. 0 points. They can't stop the run on a drive when everyone knows they are going to run. Wasted plays all afternoon. There's zero way to get inside the 5 and then call plays like it's 1920, like it's the 1920s. I mean, what the hell are you doing? I don't think James Franklin know at this point what the hell he's doing. You know, the forward pass hasn't even been invented yet in the 1920s. And what's even crazier is the fact that Penn State hasn't scored an offensive touchdown against Ohio State in 2 years. Maybe this topic is foolishness because we already know this about Penn State. We already know how they are. No matter the moment, no matter if the game is home or away, no matter if it's rain or shine, if it's against Ohio State, Michigan, or any ranked opponent, Penn State comes up short. Just look at the stats. It tells you everything you need to know about this team. Forget the names and that they possessed a top-notch defense, so everyone says. You could see they fell apart against a very good team and always do fall apart against very good teams. I couldn't tell if this was a top defense or not the way they played. You had a 1-loss Ohio State team at home, and yet you failed to score an offensive touchdown and didn't get the timely stops on defense in the second half. Penn State football is allergic to big games. What have we seen with this team every time they play against a team better than them? A loss. I can tell you James Franklin's act at Penn State is growing old. And people by now are tired of it. And I think by now the bar has been lowered after a loss like today's. Mediocre when the lights are bright. Clearly the Buckeyes outplayed them by a decent margin. And looking at this team like they were fortunate to be down just 20-13 and in position to tie or take the lead late in the fourth quarter. And Penn State had a 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. You score there and you would have to decide whether to tie it with the extra point or go for 2. 3 straight plays. 3. Penn State handed it off to Katron Allen and only inched them closer to the goal line, but that was about it. Then on 4th down, needing just a yard, Franklin and their offensive coordinator put Drew Aller, the quarterback, in a position where he would have to make a quick throw into a tight window under pressure. Aller didn't even come close. Ohio State got the ball, And for the 12th time in the last 13 years, the Buckeyes beat Penn State. And already, James Franklin is getting a lot of heat. And he deserves it. He deserves it. I can't defend him anymore. I can't. Every play on that drive was predictable. It was timid. The game meant more for him than anybody else. This was a big win for him today. It should have been. And today, I didn't see that certain swagger or bravado or attitude you saw from the defense last year. And the offense was just lifeless and put in situations where they couldn't score anything. And this is a matchup I was curious to see because I wanted to see if Penn State could put up or shut up. If they could win this big game, because we've seen seasons before where they look good and they get to that first big hurdle and it disappears. And I'm not going to point to the fact that Franklin is 28-6 over the last 3 seasons. It doesn't matter. If you can't win the big game, it doesn't matter. I can't take this Penn State team seriously as a national title contender when the evidence suggests that Franklin in year 11 can't win at home against an Ohio State team when all the intangible factors are pointing in Penn State's direction. You give Franklin a 10-year contract that takes him through the 2031 season at a price tag of $8.5 million a year just to lose to Ohio State and Michigan every damn year and not get this team to the college football playoffs. The thing is, you're kind of stuck with him because if Penn State's administration wanted to fire him, you know how much it would cost them? $56.7 million. You know exactly what you're getting in these games. You know exactly what you're going to get. They are going to lose the big games with James Franklin as the coach. I mean, we've talked about this a bunch. That is what the Franklin era has been all about. And Penn State loses once again. And I should have known that they would lose the game to a team like Ohio State because they always do it. They wet the bed every time, and they did it once again. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate the love and support as always. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the videos and keeping up with the content. If you guys like it, do me a huge favor and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk again very soon. Now, let me get back to the football games. I got an outing later on tonight, so we'll talk very soon again. We'll talk more about some NFL. I want to get some NFL stuff out there for you guys, but we'll talk soon. Take care, everyone. Peace.